hands over there. OK, well, from living rooms to stadiums across the world, the Marshall Amp has been the essential kit for any aspiring rock god. And Matt Allwright.
This is a story about genius, inspiration, great British engineering, and a man who made things louder. Jim Marshall. Hendrix.
You see, it was Jim Marshall's amplifiers that helped make some of the world's biggest music legends sound so distinctive. He gave them what they wanted.
I wanted the loudest and the biggest sound possible.
We wanted to blow their minds, if you can't go.
The father of Loud, as he's now known, was originally a drummer, not a guitarist, and his amplification empire had humble beginnings way back in 1962.
The magic all began here, in the back room of a tiny shop on the Uxbridge Road in Hanwell, West London. It's now a barber shop.
You've got this little place in Hanwell in London, and you've got Eric Clapton, Ronnie Wood, Pete Townsend hanging around the shop talking about music. Pete has always said that Dad understood the younger generation and what they were looking for.
You were all stumbling on distortion, creating a long, sinewy sound from the guitar. And it just so happened around that time Jim Marshall opened a music shop and we decided to join together and make the loudest amplifiers known to man.
So Dad, Dudley Craven and Ken Brand started creating a prototype amplifier. Dad would say, oh, come and listen to this. And they'd say, don't touch anything, because it'd all be live on the bench, there'd be valves and there'd be circuit boards. And he'd say, look, just plug in here and tell me what you think.
This meeting of minds resulted in a sound completely different to that of the clean, polite hi-fi of the 50s and the early 60s.
There's a particular thing that you're doing in that box to make that sound. What is it?
Marshalls are built around valves. Now, there's an electrical signal that comes out of the guitar and the valves create harmonics. And we get a sort of vocal kind of sound. And it's the voice that the guitarist can use to connect with the audience.
And bigger audiences filling bigger venues needed bigger sound. So Jim hit on the idea of stacking speaker cabinets, which meant everyone could hear, even the poor old souls at the back. The Marshall stack was born and quickly became an icon of 70s and 80s stadium rock and roll, putting up with some pretty heavy-duty handling.
It is the greatest amplification that has ever been thought of and built by one man.
It gives you what we call everything in the kitchen sink. And that, I think, is what just keeps going across row 20, row 20,000.
The old story was you could drop one off the back of a transit van and it'd still work.
Have you tried that?
I personally know.
By the 80s, Marshall had muscled aside America's music giant Fender and homegrown Vox to become a cult classic. Jim's collaboration with rock legends continued, and Marshalls eventually played their part in what has become the ultimate rock band parody.
The numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11, 11,
and most of
11,
the
and then
amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
And this is Marshall now, headquarters in Milton Keynes. From here, amplifiers are sent all over the world. One even found its way to me. Let's meet her. Marsha?
Foxy lady.
She's only little. Always wanted to be a stack.
50 years on, and although he's passed away, Jim's ideology of craftsmanship and quality lives on.
Everything we do, quality is so important to the company. The wood is all hand sanded, and Dad used to insist on signing the inside of the cabinets by the person who finishes them.
Is this the best job in the world?
Not a bad job at all, I tell you.
Anything wrong with this one?
No, this is a good one.
Growing up, Dad was extremely hard-working, so he was very passionate about the job. But he was a family man. So for what Dad did, of course I'm proud, very proud. He created this Marshall family, and that's what we've still got today.
If there was one word that sums up the genius of Jim Marshall, it's feedback, because he knew how to listen to the musicians around him and give them what they wanted. Feedback.
Yeah, very good.
What a coincidence.
There we are. Now, Neil, what does the sight of a Marshall amp do to you?
It puts fear into me because the power and the volume that you can generate from a Marshall amp is overwhelming.
Yeah.
And if you're playing a large venue or an arena or a festival, you want that, but you have to be very careful with it.
Where you stand. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
yes,
right.
Okay. Well, you have been recording for over 5 decades.